Hey guys, and welcome back to my cooking channel, Katie Cooks Easy Recipes. And today I'm going to be showing you how to make this really delicious Moroccan inspired lamb stew. It's full of flavour, packed with goodness, and it's just the perfect meal to warm you on these colder days. If you haven't already guys, head over to my channel where you'll find lots of home cooking inspiration and tips and tricks that I guarantee you'll use every day in your kitchen. And if you like, you could subscribe. So back to the recipe. As usual, we're going to start with the ingredients. I'll do a full and more detailed list in the captions. You can find it all there, so don't worry about keeping up. First of all, we're going to go with some diced lamb shoulder. I actually bought a shoulder joint and cut the meat off. It was a lot of faff, but it was much better value for money. That's about 800 grams. We're going to need one diced onion, and these are our spices, which are cumin, coriander, cinnamon, paprika, garlic paste, ginger paste, tomato puree. We've got some chopped red olives, we've got some chopped dried apricots, we've got a mixture of parsley and coriander fresh, they're roughly chopped. We're going to go in with some lovely lamb stock, just a splash of red wine vinegar to cut through that fatty meat in the sauce, and then obviously we're going to use olive oil, salt, pepper, and you don't see it here, but we're going to use about a large tablespoon of plain flour that will help to thicken the gravy. So there we go, they're all our ingredients there. Not too bad, and I'm actually going to cook this in my pressure cooker today. It just makes everything 10 times quicker. This is my Instant Pot Mini. It's absolutely fabulous. I use this more than I use my slow cooker now, because you can brown everything off in there, and then obviously the cooking process, as I said, is a lot quicker. So we're going to go in with our lamb, which I've seasoned with some salt and pepper, and to be honest, I probably put a little bit too much in this pan. I should have done it in 2 batches really, because it's stewed rather than browned, getting that lovely crispy outside, but it was too late and I persevered. Of course you can use a slow cooker and just throw everything in at the same time without having to worry about browning anything off. But as I always say in all my slow cooker videos, if you can brown ingredients off before you put them in, it just adds so much more flavour to that dish. I rarely just chuck everything in unless I'm in a super big rush. So now that my lamb shoulder is seasoned and sealed, I would say browned, but it's not particularly brown. There's a tip for you: try and do things in batches so you get a little bit more colour. Again, that will just add more flavour to the dish. But anyway, we persevere. So I've removed that from the pan. I've left any fat or oil that's come from the lamb shoulder in there. And then I'm just going to go in with my onions and just try and develop a little bit of flavour on those. So I'm just going to try and brown them off really gently, just for about 10 minutes. You'll start to see some colour on the bottom of the pan where it's getting really hot now, which is great because these are actually kind of brown, unlike my lamb. And then we're going to toast off our spices and aromatics. So again, in there we've got ground cumin, ground coriander, smoked paprika, 2 cinnamon sticks because they're quite small, ginger paste, garlic paste. Now if the pan gets too hot, those spices will start to stick, they'll burn, they'll add a really acrid flavour to your dish. So just go in with a little bit of water, and that will just help to loosen everything and help the spices cook gently without sticking to the bottom of the pan and burning. So we're just going to cook those off until they're lovely and fragrant, maybe sort of 3 to 5 minutes. Again, if the pan gets too hot, a splash of water. After that time, we're then going to go in with our tablespoon of plain flour, and we're going to cook that out a little bit. Again, the pan might dry up once you put the flour in. Don't be shy, you can add a little bit more oil or a little bit more water just to loosen it all up a bit, and then just cook that flour out until you're happy. And again, I'm adding a little bit of water just to help those spices out, help the pan out. And then what you'll end up with is this beautiful, toasty, aromatic, kind of like Middle Eastern paste. The smell in your kitchen already will be just absolutely fabulous. So now pour in your lamb shoulder. You can use lamb leg as well, but I like lamb shoulder. It's a little bit more fatty. It's a little bit more forgiving when you're cooking it in a stew style. It'll be like melt in the mouth. So re-add your lamb back in. You can buy pre-diced lamb shoulder. I obviously cut it off the bone myself. It was a lot of effort, but it saved a hell of a lot of money. Lamb prices in the UK at the moment are just ridiculous, and beef. Right, so our lamb's back in. Now I've added in the lamb stock. You can use chicken stock or even veg stock if you need to. But I do recommend, if you cook with lamb, if you're doing like a shepherd's pie or like a lamb stew, get some lamb stock cubes in your cupboard, because it just intensifies that lamb flavour. It's beautiful. You can really, really taste the difference. Next up, give it all a good stir, and then we're going to go in with our chopped olives. They're kamalata olives, the red ones. They're my favourite. Sorry if I've said that wrong. And some diced, dried apricot. I don't actually like olives, so if you don't like olives, try not to worry too much. They just add this beautiful flavour. You'll barely be able to see them, so you won't be picking holes in it when you're picking them out. Sorry, when you're eating it. And the apricots add a really lovely sweetness. All these flavours, even if there's something in there you don't really like, all these flavours will just build a relationship in that instant pot or slow cooker if you're using a slow cooker. And the sauce, the stew, will just taste absolutely divine, well balanced. It will be sweet, it will be salty, it will be sour once we add the red wine vinegar, which I'm not adding in till the end, by the way, don't worry, I haven't forgotten. Set your pressure cooker for around 50 minutes. Slow cooker, I presume, will take about 4 hours. If you've sliced your lamb, if you've diced your lamb the same sort of size pieces as mine. Pop that off. So in that 50 minutes, you can clean your kitchen up, you can get reset, sit and have a cup of tea, go and have a shower, take the lid off, and look at that. Now, it's quite liquidy at the moment, and we're going to thicken it up slightly, but I do want it today to be more like a soupy stew, because that's just what I'm in the mood for. But obviously you can continue to thicken it if you wish. Now all that meat is pretty much falling apart, all the flavours have developed together. We're just going to have a little taste now, and then have a little taste so you can see what needs, does it need a little bit of extra salt, does it need that red wine vinegar in there for the acidity. I'll just show you how soft that meat is. It's just falling apart. There's just enough give in it for you to have something to bite on, because I like to bite my meat. I like it to be somewhere in between melting in the mouth and still with a bit of texture. So again, great thing about an instant pot or a pressure cooker. So I don't know if some slow cookers do it, but mine doesn't. I can now put that back onto saute and just slowly let that thicken up and reduce, and then we can see what we need to add in. So there we go, with some salt, and I also add in the splash of red wine vinegar. Let it reduce to the consistency that you're after, and then it's dish up time. So as I said, I want this today to be like a lovely comforting bowl of soupy stew, so I do want it quite thin. Obviously you can again leave it to thicken. You can use the cornflour slurry, which you can see in some of my other recipes, which will show you how to thicken up a sauce instantly. But this is just how I want it. I just want a bowl of this and put lots of garnishes on top. So that's some extra chopped parsley and chopped coriander, some lovely pomegranate seeds. They'll add some really lovely freshness, little pop, 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 pop of sweetness. It's just divine with the lamb. And then I'm just going to go on with some plain natural yogurt. You can mix that with some olive oil and ground cumin if you want to make a cumin yogurt, but today I just fancied it plain. And there we have it. This is my Moroccan inspired, my mouth's watering, I'm actually salivating, Moroccan inspired lamb stew, and it is just fabulous. So don't forget to give it a try, even if there's something in there that you're not so keen on, the olives or the dried fruit. Give it a try and let me know what you think.